Hi all, welcome to Hit F5. Today I thought of making a video on one aspect of cinema that we have kept unchanged for a long time. Yes, songs. Cinema in India has changed over time based on the taste of audience and also based on the kind of cinema that is made in Hollywood or even other influential industries. When they had James Bond movies back in the days, we had our own James Bond in almost all Indian languages. When they made cowboy movies, we made so many movies following the same genre as well. When they made horror movies, we made our own version of horror. When they made fictional big budget movies, we had our own visionary directors making such movies, right? One thing that remains unique in all these movies is that we have songs and dance numbers. Be it James Bond, Bahubali, a ghost, or even a robot, a well choreographed song and dance numbers are inseparable aspects of our cinema. No matter what generation you take, right? Everyone has their favorite list of songs, musicians, and singers. People of my generation and before, there is a deep rooted nostalgia associated with the old songs we listen to as they remind us of various stages of our lives. For instance, there may be some songs which, even though are good, may take you back to some darker memories of life, right? Then there may be some songs that remind you of some sweet, innocent memories of life. In general, most of the songs that you have listened to in the past will bring back some of those memories, right? In case of India, most of these songs happen to be movie songs, where a director, producer, music director, and a singer created a song for a particular situation, and if that song turns out to be good, people would treasure it throughout their lives, even if they don't care what that movie situation was all about. The music industry is largely dominated by Indian film soundtracks, which account for nearly 80% of the country's music revenue, followed by indie pop. As of 2014, the largest Indian music record label is T-Series with up to 35% share of Indian market, followed by Sony Music India, which is the largest foreign-owned label with up to 25% share, and then the Zee Music, which has a partnership with Sony. As of 2017, 216 million Indians use music streaming services such as YouTube, Hungama, Gaana, and so on. T-Series has the world's most subscribed, most viewed YouTube channel as well. The Western world has always looked at Indian movies with a mix of ridicule and fascination, right? As our movies are overloaded with songs and dance. Unless the song is picturized as a montage which suits well with the situation, it is very hard for them to appreciate the sudden change of context where the hero and heroine start shaking their legs in an exotic location out of the blue. Not that the Western world is not chilled out, they do have equivalent song and dance sequences in their own regular pop culture, in the form of private music albums which are controlled by major record labels like Sony, Universal Music Groups, and Warner Brothers, but they are totally separate from cinema. It is not entirely true that Hollywood movies are completely devoid of songs. They have movies that are tagged as musicals that were quite popular in 50s and 60s, and the most recent musicals are mostly restricted to the big budget computer animated movies like Lion King, Frozen, etc. Back to Indian movies, I don't know if it's really fair to criticize our movie makers for never missing an opportunity to put songs in our cinema. In fact, this is something very original about our cinema, right? And I think we should be appreciative of it. If it were not for songs in cinema, we wouldn't have had some of the greatest musicians and singers in the history of Indian cinema, be it the Burmans, the Lata Mangeshkar, and A.R. Rahman, or even Yesudas, right? Now, if you think about the biggest singers that we have produced, sung for some of the superstar actors and actresses back in the days to gain their share of fans and then started performing on stage to have their own cult following. The musicians were at the mercy of the director and the producer, giving them a break in a movie, and depending on the quality of their compositions and the intelligence of the director, they would eventually become popular or lose limelight, right? In general, the musical scene in India has always been at the mercy of cinema, how good the cinema is. There are, of course, exceptions like Indian classical music, be it Hindustani or Carnatic or even ghazals, having their independent cult following, but they don't get discussed much among Indian masses, right? 80s or a 90s kid. You may remember the phase where a good portion of 90s was taken over by private music albums or the pop albums. I would say some of these songs in fact gained more popularity than the cinematic music, as the creators didn't have to restrict the plot in these music videos to a situation in a movie and had a fair amount of freedom to show their creativity. This was a time when every Tom, Dick, and Harry would want to have their own private music albums released, right? Like Altaf Raja, and sometimes get virally hit as well. Back to the subject of songs in cinema. The problem arises when a movie starts getting identified by an item song. SRK, for instance, right, had to shed whatever little fat left under his skin for an item song in Om Shanti Om, and that became the biggest story from Bollywood for that year, right? The movie was crap. For the long time, most of the mainstream cinema has been about actors and actresses who had to look perfect. Even if they were not naturally born to fit the bill, there will be enough morphing and makeup to make them look good, and all of this for just one song sequence. We are so used to seeing the crazy workout videos of all these actors nowadays, right? To be fit is absolutely good, no doubt about it. Also, when you're taking fitness training specifically for a role in movie that is physically demanding, it absolutely makes sense. The problem is, in the 90% of cases, the main reason our actors and actresses work their beep out is just to look good in songs, right? Heroines can flaunt their size 0 image, and actors can show off their perfect 8-pack abs in a romantic song and a dance sequence, and that's it. In many movies, the only reason the heroine exists is to be able to shake a leg with a superstar hero in 1 or 2 songs, right? If these songs are not there, all the glitz and glamour associated with such actresses will have no purpose at all. I think when the movie starts giving meaty roles to the actresses, the need for such forced duet songs or item songs will reduce significantly. The heroines are not at the mercy of these idiotic songs to make their presence felt. Obviously, these actresses need to know the basics of acting to do such meaty roles. Unfortunately, the audience in India are obsessed with mass elements, right? People need their favorite actresses to do mass songs, mass dance. For instance, every Vijay or Rajani movie will certainly have one mass song just to introduce the hero, and then there will be a series of duet songs with the actresses just to keep these actresses in the limelight. Mass films are mass films, right? I don't think it'll be fair to ask the directors and the producers to cut down on the entertainment quotient, which is songs. The problem is that sometimes the movies that have solid content also get stuffed with unnecessary songs, just due to the pressure from the producers. A movie like Lagan, which was nominated for Oscars, didn't win it. If rumors were to be believed, the committee was tired of so many songs that diluted the intense drama they were witnessing. From a Desi perspective, Lagan songs were great, and none of the songs seemed force-fitted in the plot, and that's the way most of us are wired to think. But internationally, people don't look at it the same way. In some cases, song sequences are so oddly placed that even us, the Desi audiences, who are already wired to digest this, find it super irritating. Friends, as I end this video, I think songs and movies are going to remain inseparable forever in India because we are a culture of songs and dance. OTT-based movies don't seem to have gotten obsessed with the songs, as there is not much real estate on the screen to show off all the glitz and glamour, right? I'm not here to argue that the songs in the movies are not a good idea, as it is unique to Indian cinema and I think it fits well. Why not, right? Also, as of now, this is the only way we can nurture future musicians and singers. The problem is, the songs shouldn't be the only reason people watch a movie. Our creators should focus more on content to attract the audience than the songs. Now please subscribe to this channel and like this video if you have not done so already. And let me know what you think about the songs in movies, because I don't think there is a right or wrong answer. I would really appreciate your comments below. Thank you very much.